Whether you're planning a move to Florida or you've already moved to the Sunshine State and you have yet to live through a hurricane season and you're wondering, what am I going to do? Well, in this video, I'm going to go over some suggestions of what I do to help get ready every year for hurricane season and hopefully answer some of your questions. So stick around. If this is your first time here, my name's Larkin and I'm a real estate agent here in Cocoa Beach, Florida. And when I'm not making videos like this, I'm helping people buy and sell property here in Brevard County. So if you are planning a move soon and you've got questions about buying or selling, I'd love a chance to help. Let's get on with the video about hurricane season. Hurricane season, yes, it can be a little stressful, but with the proper planning, it can make it a little easier on you and your family. One of the first things we like to look at as the hurricane season is approaching is what kind of supplies that we have on hand. We'll go through our pantry and our cupboard and we'll organize the canned goods and dry goods that we have on hand to figure out what could be missing and what we need to purchase ahead of time just in case the power goes out as a storm's coming through. So canned goods, dried goods, snacks, foods that can stay off refrigeration are things that you need to have on hand. What we like to do is we'll get a couple tubs like you would put your Christmas decorations in, and we dedicate that to our hurricane supplies so they're packed, stacked, and ready just in case we need to use them. We start building up on our water supply. We always seem to have a case or so of bottled water around. We'll grab another case or two just to have on hand. And we also start buying gallon jugs of water to have on hand just in case we need them. And since there's a good chance that the electric will go out, we also like to let our freezer run down just a little bit so that if power goes out, it'll be less stuff that could go bad or things that we need to cook up in a hurry because everything's defrosting. And this is a good time to look at your gas grill. We've got a gas barbecue. It's always nice to have at least one extra tank on hand. I personally have two. Throughout the year, I'll let my two backup ones run dry before I go and replace them. But here before hurricane season, I always have the two backups full plus the one on the grill. If you don't have flashlights, it's time to get them. Make sure there's one per person that's in your house and maybe an extra one or two just in case friends or neighbors are coming over, and also have a good supply of batteries for all of your flashlights, plus any other electronics you might have in the house like a radio. Make sure you have plenty of batteries for those as well. If you have a Mophie or some type of portable charger for your cell phones and portable devices, make certain that they're always full this time of year too. We also have a couple portable lights that are solar powered. You can charge them via USB or outside in the sun. That way you can have light inside your house in case the power does go out. And as a backup, if you have motion sensor lights in your yard, like on your fence, so at night they pop on when you walk by, those are actually pretty good to keep inside your house in your bathroom, for example. So if the power's out, they'll light up for a few seconds while you go in there to take care of business. I've already mentioned a few times about electricity possibly going out with a storm coming through. It's a pretty safe bet to say that it will go out at least for an hour or two, maybe longer, and having a generator on hand is a great option. If you plan ahead, you can get a whole house generator installed, but you'll need to have an electrician come in to make certain it's done properly with the proper permits and make sure your family's safe when you do decide to run it. Portable generator is also an option. Those are available at any of the big box stores, or I'm sure you can order them online as well. Have that electrician look at your panel. It's a safe way for you to provide electricity through some or all of your home with a portable generator. At the very least, have your refrigerator hooked up to it, maybe some fans to circulate the air in the rooms, or if you're really fortunate and have a window AC unit for one of the rooms, that would be great too. If you didn't have an electrician hook up a transfer box, then you're just running extension cords through the home. And again, for the bigger items, you want the refrigerator taken care of, maybe a TV, the fans, and that type of thing. You do have to make sure that generator is in a dry and well ventilated place so nobody gets sick from the fumes. And these portable generators do run on gas, so make certain that you have plenty of gas on hand to keep the generator running if you lose electricity. Speaking of gas on hand, make certain that all your vehicles, their gas tanks are full. You want to top them off before the storm comes, because if electricity comes out, you might not be able to get gas from the local station if they have no electricity. Plus there's also the supply issue. If everybody's filling up their gas in their cars and vehicles and generators, there could be a supply issue as well. So keep your gas tanks in your vehicles full when there's a storm approaching. We're all used to paying for things with our cards, and if there's no electricity, it's really hard to pay with a credit or a debit card. So pull out some cash before the storm comes so you have money in hand to make your purchases of ice or gas or whatever it might be if the electricity is out. So that's an overview of getting supplies ready and getting the inside of your house prepared for an approaching storm. Let's talk about getting your home prepared as well. If you have impact or hurricane type windows, then there's not much else you really need to do. If you have storm shutters that are attached to the home, start closing up the bedroom ones or the rooms that you don't necessarily need light on during the day so that that part is secure and one less thing on the checkbox you need to worry about. If you have the metal panels that you've got to bring out of storage, let's get that taken care of now and stage them around the house so they're near the windows that they need to go up on. And again, get as many of them as you're comfortable with ahead of time so there's fewer to put up as the winds start picking up. And if you're in a position where you don't have impact windows or you don't have any type of shutters, I would recommend getting plywood now before a storm shows up so you can take your time and cut the plywood down to size so it'll fit each window securely to protect your house. We have plywood on our house right now, and we've used Plylox clips, and that's what we use to secure it. It just kind of pushes right in and it locks into the window, and it's there until I undo the locks to pull the wood off, and it's been a good protection for us on our house. But if your house is frame construction, you can't use the Plylox on there, and you're going to have to drill the plywood into your house and then patch the stucco and the framework where you put the holes in there after the storm comes through. And if you don't have the impact windows, you don't have shutters, you didn't have time to get the plywood, please don't tape your windows, because taping doesn't do anything for your windows except for stain them with the X or whatever pattern you might put on there. Something else you should take into consideration is all the stuff you've got throughout your yard. If you have a barbecue, if you have an outdoor dining set, maybe some chairs or lounge chairs, potted plants, and other things that are around your yard, this can be flying debris when the storm comes through, so you need to properly secure all of this. Store everything you can in a shed, on a covered porch, or in a garage would be ideal, just to keep these things from flying around and protect your home and to protect your neighbors' homes. Remember the debris and try to secure as much stuff as you can. And don't do any major yard work as the storm's approaching unless you have plans of removing the cuttings from your trees and palms after you're done with it. So if you're trimming up your oak trees or you're cutting the palm fronds off of your palm tree or hiring somebody to do it, please make certain you just don't leave it on your front curb, because that again is more debris to get blown around and more projectiles, and we want to try to minimize that as much as possible. Have your maintenance crew take those cuttings to the dump or load up your car or truck and you take them there yourself, just to keep things from flying around. Make sure you have a scanned copy of your homeowner's policy and store it either on your phone or somewhere in the cloud so you can access it anywhere. It'll be important to have this information if something bad happens to your home, so you'll know who to call with your insurance company to get the claim started. You need to have a digital copy of everything you own. Start at the front of your house on the outside and start taking pictures. Front of the house, corner of the house, side of the house, back of the house, and all the way around until you do a complete loop. Do the same thing with your front yard, your backyard. Take photos of everything so you can see what it looks like now before the storm comes through, and you have proof of records of the items that you have on hand. You're going to do the same thing on the inside. Go room by room and take photos of everything. Open up your closet, open up your cabinets, open up your drawers, and take photos and have a digital record of everything you have there. For your appliances, TVs, computers, PlayStations, and whatnot, besides taking a picture of your television, take a picture of the back of the TV, that sticker that has the make, model, and serial number of what it is, so you have specific proof of the items that you own. Whether you're in Florida in the hurricane zone or you live anywhere in the country, you should be doing this annually to update your digital record just in case something happens. And again, just like with the insurance policy, you could store it on your computer or your phone, but what if something happens to this? It's better to back up a copy of that to Google Drive to Dropbox or any of those other online storage facilities. Keep it in the cloud so you can have access to it anywhere just in case you need it. What if you have to evacuate? If you live along the A1A corridor, any of the barrier islands here beachside, if you live anywhere on Merritt Island, or even the mainland, if you're east of US 1 and they call for a mandatory evacuation, that means you. They're not going to force you to leave, but they highly recommend that you get to a safe area, which is off the barrier islands and to the west side of US 1. So do you have friends or family that are on the mainland you can go and visit for a few days? Awesome. If you don't have friends or family in the area, or you plan on getting a hotel, call and see what rooms they have available and secure one before you head out. And remember, you don't have to evacuate far. You don't have to drive to Georgia to get out of the path of the storm. You just have to get far enough inland so that the winds aren't as bad. Now, could you go to Georgia? By all means, yes. But realize as you're driving to Georgia, a lot of other people are going to be on the freeways and roads are going to be congested, and it's going to take you a heck of a lot longer to get there when a storm's approaching than if it was just today, for example. If you are going to drive and evacuate like that, it's also a good idea to know the back roads. You don't have to take I-95. You could find some smaller back state roads that you can use that maybe are a little bit less traveled, and even though you're driving a further distance, it could still get you safely in about the relative same time frame. And if you have pets and you're evacuating, remember to take the proper supplies for your pets too. Take their food, take their medication, take their beds, take the doggy gate, and maybe a traveler case for them too, so that you know your pets are safe and secure. And speaking of medication, if you have medication that you're on, make certain that that's in your travel bag too, because you want to make certain that you have your meds with you wherever you happen to evacuate to. And they do open up shelters here in the county and in Central Florida too, so that could be an option for you to evacuate to. But again, if you have pets, make sure that the shelter is pet friendly, or if you are evacuating to a hotel, make sure that the hotel that you're evacuating at is also pet friendly. And I know a lot of people that choose not to evacuate. This is their home and they're staying here no matter what. I've lived through all these hurricanes. Just realize that if you do decide to do that and it does get a little hairy or something happens where you need help, the fire and rescue might not come out for you. If it's not safe for them to travel to take care of you, they're going to wait until the storm passes before they answer that 911 call. So keep that in mind. And if the storm is here or almost here and you've realized maybe I should have evacuated, they'll allow you to travel west and get off the barrier islands and go over the bridges, but they keep in mind that they will close the bridges if the sustained winds get over 45 miles an hour. So they will allow you to leave, but when it comes to coming back, they could have the bridges closed so you can't get back home. And also after the storm, they won't allow anybody to cross the bridges to come back over the causeways until they have all the bridges inspected. They always start at the south end of the county with 192 and they work their way north. And as they clear a bridge, they open it. So if you live near 520 or the 528 Causeway, and that's how you're going to be coming home to get back to Merritt Island or Cocoa Beach, just know you're going to have to wait until those bridges are closed before you can come back home after the storm. And if you're looking for ways to track and to keep up with what's happening with the storm, just know our local news here in Orlando, all of the major networks, they do a fantastic job keeping us informed, and they are on there broadcasting about what's happening with the storm 24/7 until things pass through. Other sites and resources that I like to use, I'm a big fan of Mike's Weathers page. He's got a good Facebook or Instagram presence, or you can just go to spaghettimodels.com and check out his website there. Mike's Weather page is an awesome resource. So whether this is going to be your first hurricane season or you've been through quite a few, let's hope that we have a nice quiet hurricane season this year and we don't have to worry about any of this. Just know that we have plenty of time to prepare because we know of the storm coming days before it gets here, and so we should have time in order to properly prepare. I hope this video helps you get ready for your first or your next hurricane season. If you have any questions or comments, or you have some suggestions that you like to do, please drop them in the comments below. Plus, if you stuck around this long, you probably like what you're hearing. If you haven't done so already, you should consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm also queuing up 2 more videos for you to watch next. My name's Eric Larkin with Real Brokers here on the Space Coast. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you on the next show.